Could you just briefly describe the timeline? Why did you resign from IAS?
Okay. See, I joined the IAS mainly because my parents wanted me to write the IAS. I didn't think about the IAS. I was doing my research in the University of Kerala and at the Center for Development Studies in Trivandrum. So that's where I was working, and for 1 year I worked there. Then my parents told me that they would like me to give this a shot. So, with mixed feelings, but then I thought if I am going to do it, I must do it sincerely because I can't let them down also. So I said, all right, I'll give it a really good shot. And I wrote it and I got selected. And then I said, all right, I'll take the job. And I worked for 6.5 years. I was allotted to Manipur. And I worked for 6.5 years. I was really happy. When I say I really enjoyed my service, proof is, based on my 6.5 years service, I've written 3 books. On a clear day, you can see India, The View from Kollam. These were published by HarperCollins. The second one was A Day in the Life of a Sub-Collector. And the third one was Maveli and Markets, How Supply Co. Held the Price Line, which was about the public distribution system. And I worked with E. Chandrasekhar Nair was the minister. And K.M. Chandrasekhar was my boss. He was the former cabinet secretary. He was the MD of Supply Co. and I was his number 2. And that was the year we started all this Maveli store and Onachanda and all that. I mean, as a proper study. So I wrote that book. So, I was service, just to prove to you that I was really enjoying my service. I was happy. I was going to probably go on in the service. I was not looking for a reason to quit. Then, I happened to come to Trivandrum when my mother was in hospital for something. So, I took leave and came to Trivandrum to be with her. And one day, I had some spare time. So, from Medical College to Chitra Institute is not much. So, from SIT Hospital, I just walked across to Chitra Institute and met Dr. Valyathan. Dr. Valyathan told me, we had an interesting conversation. So, he said, why don't you go and meet our Mugal head of the research campus, Professor Ramani. So, I went to meet Ramani. I had a 1-hour meeting with this man I never knew. That changed my life. That when I came out of that 1-hour meeting, I decided I'm going to resign from the IAS and I'm going to take this technology and I'm going to commercialize it. Now, it was a crazy thing, but that was my epiphany. If I had, every one of us is not fortunate to have our epiphany. Most of us go through life without having it. And I was a guy who reached the age of 30, without 30 or 31 I was, without having any idea about where I wanted to go. I was just going, like most of us, above average students, so write the IAS, otherwise you become a bank officer, so make that the career. Or, I think a profession like journalism and all that, you must want to become a journalist to join it. You don't just become. But most of the others were default jobs, like IAS. So what I'm saying is, I was not dissatisfied with the IAS and looking for a reason to leave or anything. I was quite happy there. Till I met this guy. And what he told me, it had such an effect on me that I couldn't, I thought this was why I was born. So how seriously I was affected in Ariana, അച്ഛനെ പോയി കണ്ട അമ്മ ആശുപത്രി കിടക്കുക. അപ്പോൾ അമ്മയടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ശരിയാവില്ലല്ലോ. അച്ഛനെ പോയി കണ്ടു. ഞാൻ അച്ഛനെ പോയി കണ്ടിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു, ഇങ്ങനൊരു ഐഡിയ എനിക്കുണ്ട്. So now the ball is in his court. And you must understand the generation I am from, where the wishes of our parents was very important. Even for a very independent-minded, almost bordering rebel guy like me, if my father said something, that drew the line. It was a self-imposed thing. We respected our parents so much. So And it takes time thinking. So I thought, I was with a lot of suspense, only the two of us there. Then he said, Nee, Nyangada Agra Prayagam, in spite of the fact that you had no such ideas, you wrote the IAS, you prepared sincerely for it, you got selected, and you have worked, and you are doing a good job there. We are happy. Now, whatever you do, we will support you. So you go ahead. I don't know what you are going to do, what is the project, you go ahead. And we are sure you will make a success of it. And but the point was, what I am trying to say is, if he had said, I think you should continue in the service. That's it, I would have continued in the service. I have absolutely no doubts about it. So, like somebody said, some wise man said, life is often lived in retrospect. With the benefit of hindsight, we know exactly why we did all sorts of things then. But actually, if you rewind to a particular date, and if you can somehow erase all the knowledge which came after that, and try and see the world and see life and see ourselves as a 30-year-old at that time, it will be a very different place. We know so many things about what happened after that. That's the reason why I quit. Because I met Ramani, Professor Ramani, he fired me up, and I got the go-ahead green signal from my father.